Hi, thanks for joining me. Today I'm reading the first chapter of Odyssey of Love by Linda Jämsén. Chapter 1, Angelica. Unlike other homes on the gentrified Cambridgeport Street, the faded triple-decker with the peeling gray shingles needed a sprinkling of fairy dust. Scraggly, overgrown weeds poked out through the patches of cracked dirt in the front yard. A hornet's nest lodged snugly inside a broken cellar window. I glanced around for a pointy black hat, but spotted only the telltale broomstick parked against the sunken porch. Why had I let my best friend Jenny talk me into seeing a psychic? Climbing the sagging wooden steps, I remembered my mother's story of how she had turned to the supernatural as a young woman, also after a failed romance. A fortune teller had predicted she would soon meet a new man with the initial J and marry him 6 months later. Right on schedule, Mom met and then married Joseph, my father. If their long, happy union was a testimony to the power of the tea leaves, maybe there was hope for me too. I'm only following a family tradition, right? As I fumbled for the buzzer marked Angelica, the front door creaked open and a petite figure floated out to greet me. My, you must be Linda, she said in a sing-song voice. I tried to respond, but could only stare, entranced by her otherworldly appearance. Tinsel-like threads wove through Angelica's golden tresses, which spiraled Rapunzel-like down a high-collared, ruffled ivory shirt. Her diaphanous skin and delicate features reminded me of a pre-Raphaelite model. A timeless aura hovered over her, making it difficult to determine exactly how old Angelica might be. With a graceful hand, she directed me inside, the hem of her pink organdy skirt sweeping up cat hairs in the hallway. I was tempted to feign a migraine and flee, but the oasis of her opal blue eyes steadied my nerves. "Isn't this heat stifling?" she said. I forced a smile. A battalion of rusty metal fans welcomed us into the living room, where I braced myself for an onslaught of tarot cards and UFO replicas. Instead, her home reminded me more of the cloisters than Coney Island. A marble statue of Mother Mary, adorned with necklaces of dried red rose petals, gazed up from an early American-style end table. Ancient-looking paintings of Saints Sebastian and Peter hung from paint-chipped walls next to crucifixes and framed variations of the Lord's Prayer. Angelica motioned me toward a cavernous wooden chair and glided over to the purple velvet one opposite. She requested I refrain from crossing my legs and arms, and then asked, "Are you willing to hear all the news I pick up on, even if it's negative?" Yes, ever since the big blow-up with my longtime boyfriend Hank 1 month earlier, I had already hit rock bottom. I sat up straight and discreetly aired out the clingy top beneath my navy jacket. Angelica began by inviting my higher guides to envelop us in a golden circle of healing light and protection. As soon as she closed her eyes, I made the sign of the cross, lest any wayward spirits slipped in through the screen windows. After a long silence, she described a church ceremony and an older man with a cane. "Is that Dad?" I wondered. "Maybe I'm getting married after all." "You're wearing a flowing burgundy dress," Angelica continued. "Burgundy?" She squinted her eyes. "It appears you're a bridesmaid. Do you know anyone who is getting married?" "The bride could be Wendy," I said, not wanting to divulge too much. Jenny might have told Angelica about my sister's upcoming nuptials, but I doubted my best friend would have sabotaged the session she'd taken the trouble to organize as my birthday present. "A wedding, how lovely," she said before shutting her eyes. Moments later, she continued, "I see you used to live on the West Coast, California, right?" I nodded. Well, anyone could have Googled my former address. My body language eased up as I realized that this psychic, or visionary, as she preferred to be called, was more Glinda of Oz than the Wicked Witch of the West. Perhaps she could wave her magic wand and change Hank's aversion to marriage and children. While Angelica concentrated intently, a furry white cat that answered to Luna sprang to her lap, seeking attention. I thought of my calico, Squeak, bouncing between the banished Hank in the living room of our Somerville apartment and the bedroom where I